I've come back from the future to warn you that if you don't subscribe to SSJ, your future is grim.
What's up, Marvel fans? So it looks like Punisher One Last Kill finally aired, and I finally got the opportunity to see it. I watched it about 3 times, and I came to the conclusion that it's actually pretty okay. I gave it about a 7 out of 10. The enjoyment level out of it was pretty high because of obviously the action that takes place about 26 minutes in. The first part of it, you just dip into the chaos that's going on around what it looks like the Spanish part of New York, Spanish Harlem, and you see a lot of chaos going on. These crazy dudes, this white guy that looks like Eminem, basically beating on this black homeless guy, took his dog and threw it in the street. Just remember that because that's going to come into play later on. And then we get into Frank Castle's psychosis and basically his mindset, his PTSD that he's still going through, which is a rehash from Punisher season 1 and 2. I did find that to be kind of a letdown that we spent most of the time just focusing on that and flashbacks. The flashbacks were nice because it reminded you of the Netflix version of Punisher, and they were archive footage from Frank's wife and I think one of the kids. He comes face to face with Mother Minucci, who happens to be the main antagonist of this whole thing, and she's crippled. I know she's a female villain that Punisher deals with in the comics that basically doesn't have no arms or no legs, because I guess Punisher shot them off. But here she is crippled still. She's just in a wheelchair, and she has this big black guy that's a bodyguard and lets Frank Castle know that they're one and the same because their family was taken by a massacre. And by a specific massacre, Frank Castle came to each of her family members' husband and different sons one by one and killed them all. The scene was cool because it was chilling and reminded you of the Terminator, how Punisher was able to attack the limo driver, stop the limo that Mom Minucci was in and the son, and then pull him out the limo. I just thought it was kind of cringe how he had to do the George Floyd knee on the neck thing. That was kind of cringe. He could have just pulled him out and just curb stomped him and that was it. But still a chilling scene. Pretty much after that, she tells Frank Castle that she put a hit out on him and the hit's gonna start at 6:45 p.m. the same time that Frank Castle murdered her son in front of him at 6:45 p.m. Mind you, her son is a kid diddler, which they said in the show, so I'm sure Daredevil wouldn't mind that Punisher was the one that punished him, but he would still throw a billy club at him. Speaking of Daredevil, there's no Daredevil mention, because I thought this was supposed to this apparently does take place during Daredevil Born Again season 2, while Frank Castle is away, but there's really no mention outside of the anti-vigilante task force. If you kind of pause the camera when Frank Castle puts that little flower down that the little Puerto Rican girl gave him after he saved them during that little fight scene that happens in the end. Yeah, this review is going to be kind of short. Why is that? Because the special was advertised to be 52 minutes long, not including the credits. It's about 43. After Frank goes through what he goes through, eventually he's attacked in his apartment and his apartment is set ablaze, and that's where we finally get the set piece that kind of reminds you of John Wick, where he's going from henchman to henchman, taking their gun, shooting one guy in the head. It's kind of like a mix between Commando to me and John Wick. And then he took one guy, grabbed him by the arm, and then used him as a meat shield, blew his back out with a shotgun, shot it out, and then kicked his body to another guy. And then another guy tried to hit him with a baseball bat. He grabbed the baseball bat, slammed the guy down. Like, it was nonstop action, and that's just what we wanted to see for Punisher. So eventually, after Punisher has his moment of doing his punishing, after that massacre I just told you about that happens in the Puerto Rican shop that Frank Castle ended up going to earlier, he ends up off screen putting on his Punisher outfit, his new Punisher outfit, and he ends up killing the white guy that looks like Eminem that attacked that black homeless guy and killed the dog. I guess Punisher was like, hey, give that back to the guy. And he was like, oh, the hat? Took the hat off, gave it back to him. The guy goes, that's not the only thing he took from me. And then Punisher throws his knife at the guy's leg and then takes out his gun, and then boom, Punisher last kill. I'm not really mad at how the scene looked. The scene looked cool. It would have been nice to see Punisher in his outfit for more than 2 seconds. And it felt like the third act was missing, because since they tried to show this off as a presentation as of Punisher coming back, since we just received Daredevil now in the MCU, it just seems like we're missing another act. Because I feel like Punisher, we saw the scene of him being threatened by Ma Minucci, and she ends up like getting in his face and spitting at him and things like that. Come on, we know Punisher would not allow that. He should have at least tripped her, or something. He wouldn't have just allowed her to spit in his face, because if that was like, I don't know, Daredevil that spit in his face, he would have headbutt Daredevil. Or if that was Captain America, he would have headbutt Captain, he would have tried to. It just felt like another MCU moment, especially when she said that she's going to be the one doing the punishing, and I'm not the only one that thinks that. So yeah, overall, I still think the action was really good. It did focus a lot on Frank Castle instead of being one of those presentations or shows where they have to add a side character and they just focus on that character. No, they actually keep the focus on Frank Castle. Yeah, it's pretty good. I want to see more Punisher, just like how we saw him after the 26-minute mark, just wearing his suit. Just let him wear his full Punisher suit. He's gonna be clean shaven when we see him in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's kind of unfortunate, because I think John Bernthal's Punisher, that's his best look. And we saw him for the 2 seconds when he killed the guy at the end of the special before the credits roll. So I still give it about a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's not terrible at all. It's definitely better than Daredevil Born Again. It has a lot of action, great action. I like the cinematography. It has some weird, a lot of people complain about the editing being weird in some scenes. Some of the edits were weird, but for the most part, I wasn't complaining about it too much. I know some people complained about him falling off of that building onto that scaffolding or whatever. I didn't really notice it too much. I just thought the story was pretty. I just wanted it finished with him ending Mother Minucci. So what do you guys think? I give it a 7 out of 10, and I'll talk to you in the next one.
She don't wanna be saved, don't save her. 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 She don't wanna be saved.